It's the weekend. It's Friday. It's Good Friday, which of course is a very holy day in the Christian calendar. Therefore, if you are a Christian, then I'm just knowing that you are truly appreciating this day that happened just over 2,000 years ago. And that it leads, of course, into Sunday, which is the day of celebration and resurrection. The readings are not exactly tied to the Easter season, or actually the pre-Easter season, the Lenten season, but they are what they are. The good news is I have my live stream working again, which for whatever wild and wonderful reason wouldn't work. I assumed there was a problem on live stream's end, that they had some issues, some technical issues, but here we are, it's going again. So once again, of course, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center in Spring, Texas. We read from the Science of Mind daily guides every day. We also read from other publications. Reverend Lisa, my colleague, reads in the morning at 9 o'clock, and she reads from different publications. Today's reading is called All Awaits Our Discovery. All awaits our discovery. So let's see what Reverend Joanne McFadden's got to say. The first quote she chose is from Christian Larson in The Pathway of Roses. We've had quotes from that before. It's on page 57. The Spirit of the Infinite will provide not bare necessities, but everything. The Spirit of the Infinite will provide not only bare necessities, but everything. And Ernest Holmes says, we are not depending on a reed shaken by the wind, but on the principle of life itself, for all that we have or shall ever need. In other words, that which is above and beyond everything, but which is in and through everything, which has got many, many, many terms. Often we call it spirit, or the all, or the ground of all being, the divine. That ensures that we will have all we need when we put our trust and when we put our belief into it. And it's always going to look after us. Some of these terms I wasn't really familiar with, but it became obvious as I read it. Therefore, hang in there. How many of us would associate plasma technology with microalgae and wound healing? Hang in there. Not many, but enough to highlight the spiritual truth that anything we could ever need is here for us. It's simply awaiting our discovery. Researchers at Flinders University in South Australia use plasma technology to transform Spirulina maxima, a blue-green algae, into a bioactive coating that helps heal wounds. Hang in there. In the early 1500s, the Aztecs used spirulina for food and medicine, and plasma technology became available when Werner von Siemens discovered it in 1857. However, it wasn't until the last couple of years that people put the two together. Using plasma and superheated gas, researchers are able to break down the thick walls of the microalgae, that's the spirulina in this case, to access its bioactive compounds with potent antioxidant and antimicrobial properties. They then transform these compounds into ultra-thin films to create a sustainable, high-end coating, which can be applied to dressings and medical devices to prevent infection, accelerate healing, and reduce inflammation in wounds. This discovery illustrates that within the infinite divine intelligence in which we live, the answer to every problem already exists. She says, this encourages me to remember that the divine intelligence within me knows all the answers before the questions are asked. Everything I need is available and comes to me when I'm receptive to it. And Jesus was always telling us that the divine knows what we want even before we ask it, which is the same way of saying that everything exists there. If you want to look at it in more scientific terms, which some people do, then you could say that within the ground of all being exists everything that ever has or ever will be. And if you want to look at it in terms of the quantum field, then everything exists in the quantum field in a state of probability. It exists as a waveform. And once consciousness focuses on something, which by definition is in the field, then what happens is called a quantum collapse. And that quantum collapse then transforms that wave into a particle. And that particle appears in the material universe. So the spiritual essence that we're talking about here is verified by science. There's a book by, he's kind of a wacky guy, and he was one of my lecturers, and he wrote a book that God still is. And in this book, I forgot, I'm just on a mental blank here on the name of the book. He explains this about quantum collapse. So whether you want to just look at it as Ernest Holmes did, where when we concentrate and with thought and feeling, and we release it into our subconscious mind, which is automatically part of the divine subconscious mind, then things begin to happen. Or if you prefer to look at it from the scientific viewpoint, where you're focusing on something that exists in the quantum field, and this quantum collapse occurs and it becomes reality. I choose to think that the scientific explanation is simply an explanation for what's really happening, that everything exists within the mind of the all, everything. And because it exists within the mind of the all, then it's available to us. And we get to it using affirmative prayer, spiritual mind training, which is our way of expressing that. So our job as people on a spiritual path is to do our spiritual work. It's to spend some time in prayer, meditation, quiet time if you like, to say our prayers in whatever form of prayer you choose to use. We happen to use spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, but whatever form of prayer you use. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said every form of prayer is answered. It's the belief at the back of it that counts. And Jesus is the one who was at least first recorded as saying this. Probably many other teachers have said it, but Jesus said time and again, it's done unto you as you believe. It is done unto you as you believe. So that's really the essence of all this. It's done unto you as you believe. And I'm actually early today. My wife is playing Scrabble with some friends. They're enjoying themselves. I'm going to read you the affirmation. I know divine intelligence has the answer to any question I have, even before I ask it. I allow myself to be receptive to this great wisdom residing within me. I know divine intelligence has the answer to any question I have, even before I ask it. I allow myself to be receptive to this great wisdom residing within me. And I am going to sign off. I'm going to let you get on with your weekend. And as I said, for all of our Christian friends, for all of us who respect Christianity, who respect Jesus, this is a holy time. Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter Sunday. So I'll be back tomorrow on Holy Saturday. Remember, Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And until next time, namaste, peace, love, harmony, blessings.